It's very nice to be here. Thank you very much for being invited. My name is Toby Ouvry. I am a meditation and mindfulness coach. I really want to try to put across to you this afternoon some of the perennial values of a life of meditation and mindfulness that I have derived from my initial training in Buddhist mindfulness practice, which then diversified to a more general exploration of the existential value of mindfulness in general, its practical value to everybody and anybody, regardless of culture, background, beliefs, and so forth. Okay, so when I talk about, you can see on this slide here, the value of Buddhist ideology, really what I'm talking about there is the ideas that have value to anybody and everybody, regardless of whether you're particularly interested in Buddhism or not. All right? And particularly, well, what's it got to offer for us in the information age? So I want to touch on that as well. So really, I'm just going to walk you through a couple of principles that come from meditation and mindfulness and see how they might be of practical use to you, and you'll get a chance as we go along to kind of experiment with them too. So first one, your experience of reality is determined by the way in which you pay attention to it. So you'll note your experience of reality. So your reality per se is not determined by the way in which you pay attention to it. So if I just pay attention very hard to having $1 million, it won't get me $1 million. Or if I think very hard about something I want to go away, it won't just go away by itself. Okay, so my experience of reality, however, is determined by what I'm paying attention to. So let me give you a very simple example. So if I'm giving my TED talk now, there are different aspects of my awareness that I can be paying attention to in this moment that will give me very different experiences. So, for example, I can listen to the dialogue in my mind that is excited, that is enthusiastic about the talk, that feels great about being in front of an audience. And if I focus upon that conversation that's going on with my mind, I'll start to feel excited, enthusiastic, positive, right? I could also listen to the conversation in my mind, which is going on about all the things that might go wrong, the way in which what I'm saying is perceived, all the problems that might come up with the technology. There is that conversation that I can be focusing on. That is also within my field of awareness. And if I focus upon that dimension of my experience, I'm going to start to have a different experience of what's going on. Right? So I'll give you a third option. If I'm now, as I'm standing in front of you, I become aware of the rising and falling of my belly as I breathe. So this is a non-conceptual aspect of my awareness. So what I'll notice is that if I take my attention away from the activity of my mind and down into my body, to the somatic experience of my body, even though I'm sitting in front of quite a large bunch of people, and this is a TED talk, there's a natural calmness, a natural presence to that experience. So I can actually be standing here, focusing on my breathing, and I'm feeling pretty damn calm. You know what I mean, right? So this is what I mean when I say your experience of reality is determined by what you pay attention to. So I've just given you 3 examples of me in this moment. There is a conversation about what might go wrong. There is a conversation about what I'm feeling good about and excited about. There is the presence of the breathing in my belly. So I have these 3 options. So if I want to practice mindfulness, I could say, okay, well, there is value in focusing on what might go wrong. Just enough to make sure that it doesn't go wrong. Right? So that conversation going on within my mind, that part of my awareness has value. So I want to focus on that just enough to try to mitigate any problems that might come up. So it has value, and I need to pay enough attention to it so that I can mitigate any potential risks. It's also fun to focus on what I'm feeling enthusiastic about, what I am enjoying about the experience, enjoying interacting with the audience and so forth, because that's kind of fun. But I don't want to get too excited about that because, after all, I'm giving the talk and I need to pay attention, have a certain amount of attention needs to be going on to how much time have I got, and so on and so forth. So I might place the center of my attention, the center of my experience on my body and my breathing. It's a stable place where I can come back to in this moment whenever I feel, oh my God, what am I going to say? Come back to the breathing. Here I am. Okay, so what's next? I calm down enough to just think, okay, well, this is next. So this is what I mean, is your experience of reality is determined by what you're paying attention to. So this is going on moment by moment for everybody in every moment, right? What you're focusing upon in this moment is determine your experience of what is available to you in your reality right now, all right? All right, so what comes from this is, if your reality is determined by the way in which you're paying attention, then it's a very, very good skill to develop to be aware of what you're paying attention to and to be directing it consciously. So this skillful, conscious directing of your awareness in the moment is what I'm going to call mindfulness, right? So there are formal dimensions of mindfulness where you are training yourself to sit down and formally train yourself in the art of attention. But there are also informal dimensions of it where basically you could think right now, what is it that I need to pay attention to in this moment to be most effective and to be most happy? So whether or not you've done any formal mindfulness practice before, if you ask yourself that question right now, something will come back to you, something probably quite useful will come back to you. So mindfulness isn't something that oh, I don't practice mindfulness, or I do practice mindfulness. Actually, mindfulness is something we can come back to in any moment that is of practical existential use to us right now. Okay. All right. So I want to give a bit more of an extensive working definition of mindfulness, just to give some more context. So mindfulness involves specific forms of attentional and awareness practices that are designed to release our natural intelligence and our potential for experiential learning in the moment. So slightly longer, but all of these points are very important. So in specific forms of attentional and awareness practice, so back to what I said before, the skill of placing your attention in an optimal direction in any given moment. So the function of mindfulness is to release our natural intelligence, our potential for learning in the moment. So this is a very, very primal form of intelligence, actually. I often think about this as it's like you have your caveman or cavewoman that sees the fish in the river and identifies it as a potentially tasty morsel, but then obviously the fish is still alive and it moves quite fast. So how are you going to catch the damn fish, right? So you try chucking a spear at it, and it's way too quick, and you're not accurate enough. And you try jumping in the river and grabbing it with your hands, and it's going way too quick. You try making a net, but the net is too weak, or the holes are too big, it swims through. So you try various different approaches to catching the fish, all trial and error. And you notice that this one doesn't work, this one doesn't work, this one doesn't work, this one doesn't work. And so let's say you're lying down on the side of the bank thinking, well, I've tried all these things and it hasn't worked as a caveman and a cavewoman. Here we are. And then the fish, because you're standing very still or lying down very still, it just swims up to the side of the bank. And you see it right beneath you. And then very slowly, I'll try to be very, very slow. I'll just put my hand slowly, slowly, slowly into the water. Really slowly, go underneath it, and then flip it out. Right? So, and you discover, oh, that's the way you catch a fish. Right? So, it's this type of learning that we're trying to release through mindfulness. You're really noticing what is going on, noticing the presenting problem, the presenting challenge that is right in front of you, and using your natural experiential intelligence in the moment to work on the optimal solution. All right, so in this case, your mental and conceptual intelligence are functioning as adjuncts to your primary intelligence, which is working off what's in the moment. Right? So your conceptual intelligence, your mental intelligence, your previous experience, your training, your academic qualifications, everything you know conceptually is working as an adjunct a support to what is actually happening in the moment. Okay? Is that 10 minutes already? Oh my God. Okay. All right, enough of that. So if you get to do this really well, then there are two effects. First of all, you'll become more effective in life. Secondly, you'll become more happy because you'll notice in this moment what is making me happy, what is making me sad. How can I focus on this in a way that makes me happier rather than sad, right? So the idea is to release your potential for experiential learning in the moment. Right. So then, there are many, from this you can see there's as many different types of mindfulness as there are things to do. So there is, doing a mindful business meeting. There is mindful playing squash. There is mindful relationships, being present to your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your child. There is mindfulness with regard to playing computer games. There are as many different types of mindfulness as there are activities, right? All of them, in order to function optimally, involve a state of mind that is focused and relaxed. Focused and relaxed. So a mindful state involves being focused, but not so focused that you're catatonic. It's like, focus. Not like that. Just enough focus to direct your intelligence in the right direction, and then you relax into what you're focusing upon. So your natural intelligence is able to function optimally upon what you're focusing upon. If you focus too hard, your intelligence, your mind shuts down a bit because you're too tense. So you want to be focused and relaxed. So in order to be mindful, this is the state or the state of flow that you're trying to cultivate. Relaxed, focused and relaxed. So it's kind of like a balance. So I often describe it as if you imagine holding a bar of soap in the shower. Right? It's a slippery object. If you try and squeeze it too tight, then the bar of soap is going to ping out of your hand because of the tension causes it to slip out. But if you're not holding it tightly enough, it's going to slip out anyway. So when you talk about a state of mindful flow, a balance of focusing and relaxing, you're talking about a state of mind that has just enough tension, just enough focus to keep yourself paying attention to where you're supposed to be going. But other than that, relaxed. So that's what you're looking for. Okay? Where are we now? All right. So what I want to do is a very brief exercise. I've got 5 minutes, is it? 3 minutes. Okay. It's going to be a 1-minute exercise. I want you to come back to your breathing. Sit down, sit comfortably, come back to your breathing. Right? As you breathe, as you focus, as you breathe in, I want you to focus your attention as single-pointedly on the breathing as you can. Make your attention as you breathe in single-pointed. As you breathe out, I want you to relax your body. Breathing in, focusing. Breathing out, relaxing. So with every cycle of the in-breath and the out-breath, there is the element of focus and the element of relaxation. So just spend a few breaths doing that. Breathing in, focusing your mind. Breathing out, relaxing your body. So bringing together the qualities of focus and relaxation. All right. So you're going to notice now your mind is a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more focused. And what I want you to do is just bring to mind a challenge that you're experiencing right now. In your relationships, in your professional life, anything like that. Just bring it to mind. And with that relaxed, focused state of mind, allow your natural intelligence to operate upon that challenge. Notice what you're aware of. Notice what comes to your mind. So just notice what focusing with relaxed intelligence reveals to you about that particular issue. What do you notice about it? And then final thing, is there anything actionable that you can take away from what's come into your awareness? Okay, so that's pretty much it. It's a very brief exercise, as I've been talking a bit too much already. So, final point here is, that last part, is there something actionable I can take away? Is you want to bridge the gap between your mindfulness as a contemplative practice, something you are doing to reveal awareness about the issue that you're focused upon. There needs to be an action. You need to bridge what you become mindful of with something actionable. So that final part is, what can I do about this? So once you become mindfully aware of a particular issue in a particular area of your life, there needs to be something that you then do about it in order to make it a complete mindful cycle. So that's pretty much all I have to say. I mean, that's 15 minutes of mindful attention. The way in which you experience your reality depends upon what you're paying attention to. That's basically my message. Thank you very much indeed.